You've got to be very careful with those happy surprises, and obviously the supports we have built up, well, they all get kicked out. They all leave the European LCS. Edward and N-rated. Who's going to be next? Crepo is like, oh, I'm on the line now. I'm in trouble. But we do see Evelyn Jarvan being banned out. Jason Twisted Fate. Standard bans coming out as well so far. Of course, what are EG going to ban next? There are a few champions I'm looking at towards Shen, possibly Kennen being banned out, so they don't want to see that one. NukeDuck has played it a few times in that mid lane. What will be the final ban choice? Will Evil Geniuses get Thresh?
That is a really good point. That he is available in Mythy. He didn't play him back in Summer Promotion Tournament where he played Lulu twice, but they do take away Nunu, so they're not really afraid of snooping on Nunu because he obviously didn't do too well last week, but they do actually lock in the Thresh right away. So Crepo, I bet he... Wow.
Whoa.
So we'll get to that in a second, but Crepo, I mean, he loves that Thresh bottom, and he called himself the Thresh Prince. Unfortunately, Edward was the king, but he's going to be able to have that. And then, of course, the Lissandra Lee Sin. That was locked in extremely fast.
They wanted them champions, that's for sure.
That leads me to believe that they knew Evil Geniuses would pick up that Thresh, and they're like, all right, we're prepared for that. We have champions we want to pick up, and it looks like potentially Dexter's going to give us a go on that Lee Sin. However, he actually still is very strong mid lane.
And surprise, surprise, it looks like Wicked's going to be playing Zac, because who would have thought it? You know, that's all he ever tweets about right now. I don't think he actually plays any other champion, because he's very happy on that champion.
Well, it's a very strong champion. I mean, we saw with the Meet Your Makers game. Unfortunately, they lost that against Fnatic, but just the initiate out of your jump is just so ridiculous as they do go for a Twitch. So it looks like we're going to have a relatively aggressive bottom lane here if they do go into that 2v2, though. If Tabs does lock in that Caitlyn, I would assume it would be a 2v1 lane in the end then.
Well, we could also be getting support Fiddlesticks for the second game running. It didn't work out for Jayri in the last match. Let's see whether it works out for Mithy this time around. It could be a mid lane. We haven't seen a mid lane Fiddlesticks for I don't know when. Very long time. But Tabs on Caitlyn. Again, this is another champion that is comfort champion. It's one he always goes with. And this could be a comfort champion here. If Maokai gets selected, that is a champion that Snoopy is probably best at. Yeah,
I was actually thinking he might go for that considering Jarvan and Nunu already taken away. So looks like he might go for that. It gives you very, very strong ganks early on. Not to mention the big key about that, what's perfect about Maokai, the ultimate, the AoE damage reduction that you get. So Lissandra is going to AoE ult you, Fiddlesticks, that reduces so much damage, gives you the opportunity to keep your team alive, and you should be able to lock that one in. But I'm actually surprised, Demon, that there's no Draven pick, because he's so strong now. Or not now, he's always been really strong, but everyone realizes he's really, really strong at this point. North America plays him quite a bit. We even saw him played earlier on today, but it looks like they're just going to let that one slide.
Yellow Pete obviously sees something different with the rat, and there's he toying with our hearts. He's not. It's going to be Anivia once again, locked in, Froggen. And he did say he's going to do an Amma every time he loses with Anivia, which may have to happen because he lost last week.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but this is very reminiscent of what Evil Geniuses love to do. So back in Season 2, they had, whenever Froggen get Anivia, they actually ran usually Cho in the jungle. Not Joe, he didn't get to play in the jungle.
Joe didn't play in the jungle.
But Cho in the jungle, because they would time a wall with a silence, so you couldn't flash over. So you could lock someone down, blow them up right away. It's kind of almost the same thing in terms of if you can wall them, land a Thresh hook, maybe land on the Twisted Advance, maybe land a knock-up out of Zac, then you can lock them there, you can blow them up with this team very easily. But I'm curious if they're able to have that opportunity, because they have a very mobile team in terms of Lissandra can get over the wall since you don't have a silence. Lee Sin can obviously get over the wall. And also Caitlyn can.
Zed being selected right now, just 8 seconds left. Are they going to switch it up? Mithy having discussions with his team. You can see him there on your screens. The new man, the new support. It is a permanent roster change as well, and it does look like it's going to get locked in. So does this mean Zoro Zero is going to be playing Lissandra, or will he be taking Zed? We see NukeDuck on Zed right now. We'll see how that switches around as they all do their rotations. Are we seeing anything special with the summoner spells? Not a great deal. No teleports, nothing crazy out of the ordinary either. We are seeing a flash ignite from Crepo, so he's looking to be the aggressor as the support, but it looks like it will be Zoro Zero in the top lane with Lissandra. And this is the second time, or probably a good few times, we've seen Lissandra in the top lane now.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Darien do it, we've seen Soaz do it.
Yep.
It's worked out well, it's also not worked out well for some teams, but what's getting me is, I think it's going to be a 2v1 lane for Evil Geniuses. So we're going to have Wicked up against the AD carry support lane of LemonDogs, which works out pretty well because he's Zac. You know, obviously the passive, he can heal up off of his blobs, but you mentioned the flash ignite out of Crepo on the Thresh. I mean, they want to be very aggressive. They want to catch someone and kill them with the Twitch, and they have the opportunity to do that, especially if it is a Lissandra lane they're up against.
You know what always gets me with Froggen is you all see him in these. Once he's in the mindset, the action, he is talking non-stop. Yet outside of the game, You won't get it. He's pretty talkative, but nothing like you see him in this game. He's like aggression, non-stop shouting. There's all sorts. He loves to play League of Legends. And it's funny, like, it's discussions with him. It's like, oh, my, like, during the spring break, which is a bit weird to call it the spring break. The break between the spring and the summer season. I won't call it spring break. It's not college here, ladies and gentlemen. But during that break, like, everybody went off on the holidays and I just wanted to play League of Legends. Yeah. He is happy to play it 12 hours a day. Yeah,
actually, if I'm not mistaken, he does pretty much every day of the week. He loves League of Legends. He never gets tired of it. And honestly, you have to respect that. Also be a little bit scared of it at the same time. and I've always imagined Froggen while they're playing the game. It sounds like a heavy death metal kind of song. Like the lead singer screaming, and I imagine that's Froggen every time.
Well, I do remember the Season 2 montage video that we had just before the World Finals. Him starting to go boom! It didn't actually quite come across how loud he shouted it as well. But we are about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be the LemonDogs right there on your screen as the red team and the blue team. This time, Evil Geniuses. Set your clocks, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming up to 8:20 here in Germany. These two teams have been known to go a fairly long time. They have a pretty big average time. We're not saying it's going to be a long game. It could be a quick, short, action-packed match, which we really hope it is. Absolutely love them craziness. But stats say it could be a long one.
Stats definitely say that, but we talked to LemonDogs a little bit earlier today, and they said they've actually switched up their style a little bit, so we could see some very early games out of them.
Not sure. That was Dexter, and I'm not sure if he was...
it sounds like he could troll a little bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Dexter just trolling. He's like, no, the game will be over in like 20 minutes. I was like, is that good or bad? Yeah, you surrendering there, or what's going on? But they are all stood on the wall. They are going for an invade in towards the red buff area of Evil Geniuses. Evil Genius is doing the exact same, going in towards that raid camp. Crepo will place that ward down, and looks like Mithy has done the exact same. Not too sure whether they're going to stick around. Doesn't look like LemonDogs want to stick around, but Evil Geniuses seem to be setting up camp in the red buff.
It looks like exactly the same words on both sides, but both teams know where each other are. Obviously, LemonDogs were able to spot Evil Geniuses going into their jungle, but instead of actually taking anything away, both teams are just going to back away and obviously take their own buffs, and it looks like they just want to get that vision on Dexter. They want to know where Lee Sin's going, and don't let him have that early game impact that he typically can have.
We are seeing the blue buff start by the looks of it for Snoopy. And looks like it's going to be a blue buff start for LemonDogs as well. Of course, remember, we are on patch 3.8, I should say. 1 point, we're way back. Patch 3.8, so no minions will spawn till 155, so obviously not really going to be starting off with anything. Although, telling a lie, he's going to be starting off at Wolves regardless, looks like, just before the blue buff, whereas Snoopy's going to be starting straight at the blue, so his blue will be starting earlier. Meanwhile, we're seeing golems actually being taken in that top lane. So it's going to be a 2v2 top lane, but the golem advantage will be with the LemonDogs. We'll see whether that works out, whether they get to that level 2 earlier on before Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious to see why, or I want to know why Dexter actually went for his wolves first, then his blue, because that means Zora Zero, he's going to miss out on CS bot lane. He's going to be behind in levels, and Wicked, he plays Zac so often, he's going to know how to kind of use this to his advantage. But we do see Snoopy actually going for an invade here with support from Crepo. And obviously they're going to be spotted by a ward here, but they should be able to take away this red. Instead, Dexter's respawning, taking away the red buff from EG.
Yeah, he's going straight around there. They had that ward coverage as well. He did have Smite still free, so he's going to go around. That's going to be an easy takeaway for him. Immediate reactions. Like you mentioned, Snoopy using that Smite of his own there. I don't think anyone's going to be able to react to Dexter. Dexter's going to get taken very low by this one, but will take it down nevertheless. And has that lifesteal. Ping's going down and looking like they may try and go for an early gank in the top lane. Nope. They knew that for the fact that Twitch was on his own, they expected the red buff, and they expected Snoopy to be coming out of that bush, in which case he is still stood in the tri-bush. He's still not going anywhere. We are seeing the bottom lane invade, though. Dexter's going in towards Wicked here.
Able to pick this one up, but should be able to just jump away. It's really hard to lock down a Zac, and they weren't able to blow any summoners, so it didn't work out, unfortunately, for them, as Snoopy finally spotted by a ward, but he actually takes out a pink ward, so that means there's no more wards in the top lane for LemonDogs. They're going to have to play very passive, and that's not what you want to necessarily do as a Caitlyn. You want to be farm up as much as possible, but luckily for them, they can take these double golems.
Yeah, straight back to the double golems, keeping that experience farming. Looks like the Wraiths are going to be taken. Both junglers completely countering each other right now. See, Snoopy's going to take away the whole Wraith camp there. We also saw Dexter's just done the same. He doesn't take the whole camp, though. Not so greedy. Wants to cover off that one. Snoopy returning back towards the top lane, that tri-bush. You mentioned the fact that they have pushed up very far. Snoopy may go straight aggressive here towards Tabs, try and burn some flashes out. Goes in towards Mithy. The hook came out as well from Crepo. Not going to land. Snoopy taking a lot of damage, bouncing around. The silence coming out from Mithy, but he walks away without any problems.
A little bit unfortunate for Mithy to have to blow that flash, but better safe than sorry in the end right there. As we do see Froggen just trying to farm away, and NukeDuck, in terms of CS, he actually has quite a big lead. Froggen's taken a lot of hurt, and Wicked, even bot lane, is doing relatively well. He's keeping up in terms of CS with 0-0.
Well, this is what you talked about as well, because he has that level advantage, and he's managed to really bully it out on 0-0 because he missed out on that start. He started off though Wolves, went for the blue buff a little bit later. It's give just that little bit of impetus to Wicked to bully him out. We kind of expect the bird to be a little bit slower as well before he hits level 6. Once he hits that 6, he's just going to be a farming machine.
Yes, yeah, definitely. As Smithy returns the lane with a pink ward, and when you run a Fiddlestick support, you need a lot of pink wards if you want to be aggressive. Since they're against a Twitch and a Thresh, they don't necessarily want to. But with Dexter coming in, they want to get that advantage. They want to try to get something going on here. And, you know, out of the 2 games LemonDogs has played against Evil Geniuses so far, LemonDogs got first blood every time.
Ooh, the hook's just flashing past Mithy there, stepped away, and actually would have been a bit of a bait for Evil Geniuses because Dexter is sat in that bush just above, out of sight there. And if it had gone for that, that would have been the death, I think, of certainly Crepo, maybe of Yellow Pete as well. As it is, they're being pushed on towards the tower, farming back and forward. It's actually Yellow Pete that's got a big CS advantage building over Tavs, despite the fact they've been effectively, he was in that lane on his own for a short period of time.
Yeah, that's due because of the pressure that that Super really pulled. As we see a gank in the bot lane.
Snoopy goes in, manages to get a twisted advance. The knockup comes out there. Oh, look at that. They flashed exactly to where 0-0 is going to go, but it looks like 0-0 will get away with this. Some of the spells were burnt by both top laners, but it means that he gets away free.
Yeah, Snoopy's been working this Maokai very well so far, blowing 2 flashes right now. If he can keep that up, he should be able to pick up a gank relatively soon. But as you mentioned, the CS lead that Yellow Pete has, all due to how Snoopy's been sitting in the top lane. He's kind of been babysitting a little bit just in terms of applying that pressure. And hopefully Yellow Pete, if he does go Blade of the Rune King, will be able to 1v1 Caitlyn relatively soon.
Dexter's going to make his way down. He can come across in towards the bush. There's no wards, remember. Wicked always does this. He's always very, I wouldn't say cautious. He just doesn't put the wards down.
He's been very vocal about saying, if I play, I'm going to imagine the jungler's never there.
Yeah, he's quite confident to just get out of these situations, and he may well have to burn his ultimate if he manages to get to level 6 in time. Dexter, of course, just lingering off the side there. We do see Snoopy making his move in towards the top lane as well, maybe trying to get a gank. And actually, if they show themselves down the bottom, that's going to make them go aggressive in the top. It's going to be Mithy. They get caught on towards him. Mithy will go down. No flash this time around. It will be Yellow Pete that picks up the kill. No! No, Snoopy got it.
It was a sapling. He's like, yes, I'm going to pick up the kill. As you do see it, we get going in bottom again, but he's actually being baited in.
He's actually not, because we already see that 0-0 went out of the fight at the moment Dexter went in, so Wicked actually bullying out in a 2v1. And honestly, you look at the hit points, he's come out on top there.
That door and shield, that extra regen, and also the blocking of auto attack damage is actually very strong because 0-0, he actually has 8 flat armor pens, so you wanted to auto attack him out a little bit, really try to harass him as much as possible. As Snoopy, he's waiting for a gank on the mid lane, but NukeDuck, he has his flash, he has his shadow clone, so it shouldn't be that easy for him to pick something up.
And you got to wonder, should Snoopy have gone back to Maokai earlier, because it's looking like a very good start for Evil Geniuses here. Very aggressive play as well across all the lanes. He's certainly creating the problems.
The thing about Maokai is you can't really duel him, or he can't really duel anyone in the jungle when you cross the river, but they've kept a ward down towards Wraith Camp pretty much this entire game, and because of that, he hasn't been, well, he's been countered, but he's been countering or counter jungling back as well, so he's not really falling behind. He's actually doing fairly well so far, and with that kill under his belt, he's able to pick up his items a little bit quicker and get that tankiness they're going to need.
And this is the farming push that Froggen needs. He hit 6, and already hit 7, sorry, and you can see the moment he does it, CS is straight back on, 63 to 63, all square with NukeDuck. But the AD carries, you can see big gap being built up by Yellow Pete here. Massive advantage, in fact, 40 plus CS ahead.
And you look back and wonder, if We Will Failure was playing support, would it have been the same thing in this case? Because you always wonder, you know, adding someone new to the team at this point in the season is very dangerous. And right now, LemonDogs, it's not working out for them.
Yeah, you always have to wonder, I mean, because the support does a whole lot more. He is all about bullying out that lane, keeping the pressure off, stopping that CS. And Yellow Pete, he doesn't seem worried at all. Of course, they have allowed that thresh in there that Crepo keeps flinging out those hooks. So that in itself is a problem. But Mithy, he's coming in. He's got some big boots to fill.
The biggest problem I think they have in the top lane is the fact that Crepo has Thresh. You put the Lantern behind you, Snoopy can, you know, obviously take that Twisted Advance in, and you can fear all you want. If he's Twisted Advance into you, he's going to land that snare, and that means you can land that hook with Crepo, especially when Mithy doesn't have that flash, or he does have the flash available right now.
Yeah, looking towards the mid lane. Let's see what they've gone back and buy. We do see the Seeker's Arm Guard's actually coming out from Frog, and he's just making sure he can defend off with that armor against NukeDucks on Zed. We did see Zed being played in the last match, of course, by White Knight. Not quite so successful against Alexich's Rise. This time around, it seems to be working a little bit better for Nuke against Froggen Anivia.
And especially since Zed was nerfed a little bit back in 3.7, where he can't wave clear as fast. When you're against Anivia, you have a really hard time. But right now, because of that ward, they're being spotted here. They wanted to go for a red steal again, but Dexter, it's not there anymore, and he's actually going to miss out on it.
Yeah, and he's even going to find a sapling chasing him as well. We do see just off the side, it's going to be Mithy. He's going to come in towards Froggen. Froggen throws that ultimate down, tries to turn it back around, but the fear was enough to turn it back around. He will get egged, but he's on the tower. Is it going to be enough? The ultimate kick, very good kick there coming out from Dexter. It's Nuke that's going to pick up the final kill.
And now 3 for 3 for LemonDogs with first blood against Evil Geniuses, and that silence for the flash. Wow, I can't even speak. The fear and the silence coming out of Mithy was able to lock Froggen down long enough for them to get that kill, and now off the back of that, they actually lane swap, putting Caitlyn down bottom, and they're going for Dragon. So Zoro, he's able to get a little bit more farm up here, and LemonDogs, they're going to get a free Dragon off of this.
They needed to claim this one, but look at the top lane. Because Zoro backing away, he realizes that Snoopy's probably going to try and counter him here, and there's going to be a 3-man stack on that top turret. Gold is just 200 between them right now. Of course, with that Dragon going down, the first one of the game for the LemonDogs, but Zoro's got to be very cautious played here, because Snoopy is waiting in the wings to jump on him, and that will be the first turret of the game going to Evil Geniuses.
Actually, or will it? Because right now, LemonDogs are pushing bottom right now, and Wicked, I guess you should be able to hold on to this Mithy getting very low, but they are going to go in. Actually, they try to go in, and they realize, wow, he's a lot stronger than I thought he was, and they have to back away. He
may actually be able to turn that into a couple of kills as well. He had Let's Bounce, didn't bother chasing for it, and Dexter, I don't think, was quite expecting so much damage to come out towards him. Like you said, he is much stronger than they were expecting. So, tower down, first one of the game for Evil Geniuses. Which will be the second? Will it be this bottom turret? We do see Wicked launching himself back in on Mithy. If he pops out the Let's Bounce, he has been exhausted. Let's Bounce is going to come. He's not going to be able to catch on towards Mithy. He may have baited himself this time around. Has got that passive, of course. Cell Division stands on the trap. Is it going to be enough for Tabs to try and pressure him away? Ace in the hole will come out, but it's not going to be enough to pop that passive.
He just walked right into that trap. I don't know if that was a mistake or him just saying, I'm not scared of you guys, but he does escape, keeps that passive alive, and Snoopy, he's going to pick up some free experience down here because of this push. And LemonDogs, they realize we're losing top very hard. Bottom's even losing very hard. We need to pop a lane swap in. We need to get Tabs fed, because a mid-game, Caitlyn is not that strong. Obviously, you need to get a little bit later in the game, get some items built up. And in terms of items, if you look to her counterpart right now, almost has a Blade of the Rune King done.
Yeah, absolutely. 30 CS difference for Yellow Pete as well. Blade of the Rune King almost completed. Mid lane, we see Yellow Pete just show himself, taking a bit of poke as well, but he does protect off that turret. Got it down to half health though, nevertheless, so good push there from LemonDogs to work down that turret the moment that Froggen steps away from the lane, because not often do you get Froggen away from that mid lane.
Yeah, especially with the blue buff, he loves to push as much as possible. He went Ninja Tower, but Zorzo is coming in from the back. They're trying to go for a kill on him.
They do manage to put the death mark down. It will pop him where he stands. His passive was not available, and just like that, they wipe Anivia off the map.
So maybe LemonDogs weren't lying when they talked to us earlier, saying they have a little bit of a different play style, because it's working out very well for them, being very aggressive, and they're going to get their their first tower of the game.
That will be the first turret, and this time it is the mid turret. It's a big, important turret to take down. Very well played and very well worked by LemonDogs. They have been focusing Froggen's Anivia. Maybe they were expecting it, who knows, but it has worked out very well for them. Now the bottom lane, we already see Dexter's heading down here. They can't hold this one. The Yellow Pete's going to come down, but it's still going to be dangerous ground. It's going to be a 3v2.
And Mithy is level 7, so he has the ultimate available if he wants to go in and pop, his ultimate obviously and try to fear someone. But like you said, I think this is a very easy tower for LemonDogs.
Well, I feel that Yellow Pete's going to have to pop his spray and pray to try and keep them away from this one. He hasn't quite done it. Comes out of his invisibility. Oh, but he's going to be the ace in the hole. He is taken very low right now. Dexter's already thinking about it. You can see the Crowstorm was available, but immediately we see Wicked and Snoopy coming down around that bottom turret. They were ready and waiting to counteract that.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. If they actually could have turned that around, but Yellow Pete tanking those minions onto the tower took too much damage, being forced to back away and heal up. But he still has that CS advantage. He has a Blade of the Rune King done right now. And I believe, if anything, LemonDogs, they want to start fighting. They have the ability to blow someone up. If they can kill Froggen or Yellow Pete, that pretty much gives them the team fight.
Well, see, Froggen's going to get his blue buff. Be taken away once he finally takes it down. He's going to be using a lot of mana to pick that up. Let's have a look towards this bottom lane. Oh, the hook being thrown out. They thought Mithy was going to step a little bit closer. Wicked in this top lane versus Zoro. It's actually Zoro that's winning out the lane so far in terms of CS, because he went in that mid lane, picked up the kill on Froggen as well, if you recall. but Wicked still managing to bully him away from the minions. He's definitely a problem. He's got that Haunting Guise and Sorcerer's Boots, so he's going for that full-on Magic Pen build. We'll see how that turns around. Yellow Pete back in towards the bottom lane, continuing that CS advantage. It is only 20 CS now, though. It was 30 plus earlier on. Managed to build that Blade of the Rune King as well now, compared to Tabs, who looks to be... I'm not too sure what he's actually going to go towards at the moment.
Should be going Infinity Edge, if I'm not mistaken. You could obviously go Bloodthirster for a little bit of extra sustain, but assuming the whole comp LemonDogs wants to do, they don't want to be defending a fight. They don't want to be engaged upon. They want to be the one engaging, so get a little bit of extra damage.
That's a long wait to get that Infinity Edge. That is a long gap right now.
That's kind of why Caitlyn's kind of weaker in the mid-game. You have to get a lot of farm to get items you want. Not to mention your Piltover Peacemaker kind of falls off a little bit towards the mid-game.
Oh, they saw the red buff steal coming in there from Dexter. They're going to continue to pursue this one. Oh, the ulti kick Snoopy straight away. Not following me anymore. I've stole your buff and I'm running away with this one. Oh, the hook landing on towards Mithy. Are they going to have anything to follow up? Yes, they will. They pull the rat flying through the air, and that will be Mithy going down. No doubt about it. It's going to be Crepo, though, that steals it out with the Ignite. Yellow Pete didn't quite get the last hit, but it doesn't matter. A kill's a kill.
That was a flying rat. That was pretty awesome to see, but also scary at the same time. But yeah, Thresh, we mentioned it earlier, that's how they got first blood, or how they killed them top lane, because of that Lantern pulling in Snoopy. And it's just, you can never really underestimate it. And it was actually really smart play by Crypto, because he started going in before the Lantern was taken.
Zoro thought about getting away from that one. Wicked was there. Froggen is just off down the screen there. You can see him. He'd come up the river, but he actually gone around the jungle path, hoping that Zoro would try and escape that route. Instead, he didn't. Maybe saved his life. Snoopy now being focused on. We see Nuke Duck coming around the side. He's going to pop his death mark. Is it going to be enough? That will pop, but it's not going to take down the big giant Redwood.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. And if you get to that point where you can 1v1 someone like the tank, and Snoopy actually getting caught again.
Oh, the second time will be a charm, and this time Nuke Duck picks up the kill, but the help of Zoro, and now they're going to put some pressure on that mid lane, but Froggen is there to defend it.
The timing of that kill was so perfect, because they knew when Dragon was coming back up. They killed the jungler, and considering it's LemonDogs where they like to take Dragons constantly, they should be able to pick this one up when it comes up in about 3 seconds.
I'm going to see Froggen trying to get that Ice Blast onto Dexter. The duo pairing of Yellow Pete and Crepo were also coming up to try and collapse out, but there's some great wards from LemonDogs in that jungle area around the red. They have it fully covered. They know they've got themselves a second free dragon.
It looks like we're watching Meteor Makers right now in terms of where the wards are, because LemonDogs typically don't ward up this aggressive, but it shows that they want to keep the aggression. They don't want to be defensive, and if Evil Geniuses are forced to keep doing this, you know, kind of being defensive, it doesn't really... It actually helps them out, because you have an Anivia. Like, how are you going to push against an Anivia? Smithy getting caught right here, but does have Nuke Duck to save him. And Evil Geniuses have a very strong late-game team, and that's EG. Why wouldn't you expect that?
Well, what interested me was the interviews that we saw LemonDogs talking about with Nuke Duck, and they weren't cocky for once. You know, at the start of the season, they were like, we're going to win this. It's going to be easy. We got this in the bag. Now it was a case of, well, we've been practicing with Mithy. You know, it's going okay so far. They haven't been like, oh, we're going to win it easy now. Now we've got this support. We're going to change things around. They've been very calm and confident, but they're not letting it show this time around. And so far, it's working very well for them. They have just a 2,000 plus gold advantage right now. 1-1 in turrets, but they've got themselves 2 dragon controls, which means that experience will continue to build in their favor. Wicked trying to be clever, but instead he stood on a ward. So Zoro not too fearful of him so far, and he's 30 CS ahead of Wicked now.
Yeah, and he's building that Spirit Visage as well. As Yellow Pete going to go head-to-head against Tabs here, but with Mithy in the bush, he's too scared to chase him down.
He just used the spray and pray as well to clear out that wave, so making sure he doesn't lose that terror. There's not too much longer with it, and he's actually all on his own right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a potential Crow Storm coming out from Mithy in a moment on towards Pete.
It does look like Crepo, I was about to say, might be heading down, but Wicked actually bouncing on top of Zoro, just gets out of there, not really worried about it. And that's kind of the power of Lissandra. As you see Dexter coming in, he really hasn't been active in terms of making ganks happen. He's just been picking up farm, which is very opposite of RNA, who likes to make the plays happen. Pete still farming away, still has a CS advantage over Tabs right now.
Well, there's 3 members of Evil Geniuses stacking in that mid lane. They may try and apply the pressure there. It is going to be Crepo, Snoopy and Froggen. Not really a great deal of tower pushing potential there, though, so instead they just wipe out that wave, prevent Nuke Duck from pushing down that turret and going back off to their way. Crepo actually heading up. He's going to ward out the Baron, I believe, or maybe just the Tri-Bush. No, it will be a effective Baron ward in the river area, and that will be the bottom turret going down. So Tabs doing work, starting to get himself back into it, but still 20 CS behind Yellow Pete.
Yeah, the whole point of what LemonDogs are doing right now, I think, is that they're actually... Oh, I was waiting to see if Nuke Duck can steal it. Oh, so close, but LemonDogs, they're waiting for Tabs to get his Infinity Edge, and then they're going to start fighting. Like, they're having the problem of not being able to do anything until the AD carry gets some items because he's the major siege for the team. But right now, with EG pretty much out of position, they might be able to get this turret down.
Well, as Bruce Lee would say, it's the art of fighting without fighting right now. And of course, with a Dexter in there on Lee Sin, he may well be able to do. You have no idea about that quote, do you?
The way you said it kind of threw me off.
Enter the Dragon, son. Get and watch your film history. You'll figure it out.
They don't say that in Pokemon. You know?
It's 3-1 turrets, ladies and gentlemen, because that was the first inner turret of the game going down. And LemonDogs, they have really been playing at a very good map advantage right now.
They definitely have, and they've been taking advantage of every opportunity possible where EG, you know, out of position, taking the second middle turret, which you've already touched on. The first middle turret's already really bad to lose early on, but to lose the second one when the enemy team can take away all of your jungle and just kind of strangle you in terms of gold income. And Tabs, he's getting very close to having that IH done, and EvoGenius, they see Mithy backing. As they do get the pull!
The hook lands, and that's going to be a dead Mithy, just like that. Absolutely exploded. Big green gooey mess all over the floor.
I looked at him on the camera, he's like, well, I'm dead, as that went down, but EG with him gone, like, oh, Dexter actually got right there, but that shows the mobility of LemonDogs, as we mentioned earlier. It's really hard to lock someone down unless you line up that hook, but they're going to go for this turret push here, and honestly, they should be able to take it.
It's not just the mobility, it's the siege potential that EvoGeniuses have. Of course, it's going to be Zoro locked up. He's going to have to pop his ultimate, tries to keep him away from this one. Let's Bounce was driven out there, but they're not going to be able to get a kill, and they do get forced away from the turret once again.
Yellow P almost picked up that kill onto him, but he's gonna escape just barely. And honestly, they keep the turret alive, just like you mentioned. How's EvoGenius gonna siege this turret down, and really not able to at this point, so they're forced to back away. And Tabs is gonna be happy there to pick up all the farm he possibly can.
Yeah, they're just driving it in towards him, and still they hold off. And that mid turret, look at it, it's just not been touched. They had, what, 3 waves of minions there? And that's all they've done to the turret. Actually, I think that was probably just Froggen on his own, maybe, earlier on. So really, they didn't even touch that turret. And maybe just somewhere along the line, one of those quotes that I've spoken about Yellow Pete has to happen.
Well, we'll see if that does. I mean, obviously time will tell, and Nuke Duck.
You don't even know what that is, it?
Nope.
Hit the goddamn tower! Good lord, man. Do you even watch League of Legends? I gotta question this.
No, I was just thinking that there's something developing right now that's very, very deadly for EvoGenius' Yellow Pete in particular, is that Nuke Duck, he's ahead in CS, he has 2 kills, has a Blade of the Room King done, and a Last Whisper. He can die very quickly. Like, if he dives into Yellow Pete, he's gonna be gone. If he dives into Froggen, obviously he has to escape with the Zhonya, so Yellow Pete, his position is gonna have to be perfect or he's gonna get exploded, and that means EvoGenius will lose that fight.
We will see. Of course, Crepo with that Oracle will start clearing out those wards, as EvoGeniuses love to do. The crowd goes wild. And they have got a ping ward, actually, at the Dragon. So Dragon will be up in 30 seconds. And LemonDogs, every time that Dragon's been coming up, they've managed to find a kill on a member of EvoGeniuses. Looking like they may well be hunting for it right now. We see Nuke Duck hanging around in the bushes down the bottom. Dexter's looking to possibly joining him as well. They can't see that ward that Crepo just placed, I believe, in the Baron pit.
Actually, I'm going to check it out myself. No, they can't. But we do see Wicked actually heading down from the top side, so it looks like they want to contest it this time. And honestly, with the point in this game, 22 minutes in, if one team wins this fight very heavily, it might actually just be the game for them.
Well, we see the water fuse, I think it's safe to call it, but well, there's spots like that all around the map. LemonDogs are going to be picking the Dragon up, and it looks like this time EvoGeniuses, for the first time, will try and contest it. We see Nuke Ducks just off the bottom there. He's actually thinking of split pushing in. He's going to keep the pressure on the inner turret, but EG, are they going to try and push for the mid turret? They're going to have to try and go and give up one objective here. Looks like it's going to be Wicked going in, trying to draw them out. It's a 4v5 in the river. Nuke Duck still getting drawn away to it, but he's keeping the pressure on that bottom turret. EvoGenius is starting off the Dragon. Are they going to have enough? Is Dexter going to maybe go in for this one? Or are they happy to give it up? Oh, he doesn't land the Q. How did he miss the Q there? I don't know. There was 5 members and he didn't land it on one of them.
Well, it might kind of show that he doesn't play Lee Sin as much as he'd like to. But in the meantime, Nuke Duck's going to take that bottom turret. And honestly, trading Dragon for a bottom tier 2 turret is not worth it any day. And it was just, they were stuck at that point anyways. They weren't able to get down there in time or they lose Dragon. So they're like, you know what, we'll take Dragon. They'll back away. We'll let that turret go down. But they need to do something about this because LemonDogs are just getting further and further ahead in terms of gold.
Absolutely, and you say it's 4,000 gold. Oh my word, Wicked might get caught out here. We're going to see Mithy coming around, does manage to land the Fear, but immediately the Ignite on towards him has to flash him away. The Lantern was been thrown out. Wicked will take that Dark Passage, only right next to Crepo though. It's like one of the things that was there, I've got to click it.
That is exactly what I always do when playing, even if it takes you to a bad spot. But LemonDogs, we haven't seen... Have we seen one ultimate out of Mithy so far? I don't think we have.
Nope, no Crow Storms yet.
And that's
he doesn't want to bring the party just yet. It's early days. It's his first game. There's no time to party just yet. They've got to win first.
That is true. And the thing is that with the way it's been going is that Mithy hasn't had the opportunity to really ulti in. So he's kind of, I think in my opinion, like there's their back line. If Evil Geniuses do push, he's going to initiate with his ultimate. But the thing is, if they're the one chasing EG down, they can't really land the ultimate that well. Because obviously Evil Geniuses will be in a really advantageous position. But Froggen picking up blue yet again. And I mean, he always talked about his Nivea. I know you've mentioned this quite a few times, that a lot of teams don't ban that against him anymore, and he should start playing it more often. But right now, he's not doing that well.
Well, he's not been having to really been gifted any chances, but one thing we do know with Nivea, he can stall the game out. And as it stands, they're going to have to, because we're coming up to the 24-minute mark, and sure enough, EG needs to stall this game out, because they are starting to fall behind quite heavily to LemonDogs. They come back in the past. I don't want to remind you too many times. We have seen it, but that was Season 2. This is Season 3, and they have not done it too many times in this recent history, I think it's safe to say, probably of the last 6 months.
Mithy actually has an Oracle right now, so it might actually show that LemonDogs, they want to potentially go for Baron relatively soon, and then force an engage in the Baron pit where they're not actually doing it, they're just baiting Evil Geniuses in. As well as Crepo having one too, so he's going to pretty much counter out these wards, and it's all about who can get the slight vision advantage. Right now, Tabs isn't in position, Yellow Pete's heading middle, so EG, they might go for push on this mid turret.
Well, they need to take it down. They've been trying a number of times. This time Tabs is not there to help out, so this would be the best chance that EG have to try and get on towards his turret. They're going to have someone tank it up, or just basically take a couple of the hits for them. But unfortunately, they don't have a tank right now. The Aegis of the Legion not quite ready by Snoopy. Not a great deal of armor. The hook actually being thrown out. They call it to Nuke. They do have to force him away, but again, no flash was needed, and they are going to finally get some turret damage down there. Zora Zero trying to do what he can. Can they manage to finish off the turret? No, they can't. They're going to have to back away and wait for the next wave.
And now Tabs is here, so he should be able to stop the wave anyways. And LemonDogs, they've had 5 consecutive turrets in a row without Evil Geniuses responding to one, so this is not a good sign for EG, as now they're being forced to go back to defend their turret, and we do see Snoopy going deep.
Very deep play there, and they're going to see him going towards it. Is this the time to bring all that Crow Storm out? He's going to stand off the side there. Froggen taken very low. He's been egged. And you see that's going to be Yellow Pete getting popped by Nuke. Nuke just came around the side and absolutely wrecked Evil Geniuses. That will surely beat an ace. Cell division is not going to be enough, and thus like that, wow, what a fight for LemonDogs.
And that was with Zero kind of missing his ultimate onto the target he wanted to hit on a Froggen. He zoned his, didn't take the damage, but if you were watching Yellow Pete, you probably had to watch really closely because he exploded. Nuke went straight for him from the backside, blew him up, and he was out of the fight. And that's just the items that they have. This current advantage for LemonDogs with the first inhibitor going down, having almost 10,000 gold at this point. I mean, they're looking like a completely different team.
Absolute brilliant engagement, brilliant fight. And honestly, it was kind of LemonDogs just went down the side and it's like, well, if you want to fight us, you're going to have to come right at us from an awkward angle. And EG were like, oh, sure, we can do that. Oh, wait a minute. And we saw Snoopy going in. And honestly, sometimes that twisted advance can be that problem. He went in. I didn't see who he put it on.
Was it on Lee
Dexter?
Sin?
He flashed.
No, he actually safeguarded away.
Oh,
and it pulled him into his team. So he's like, crap, I'm kind of stuck here.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I'm pretty sure everybody has done that at some point or another. But as it stands, Evil Geniuses, they're going to try and react. They're finally going to push for that middle turret. Can they get it down? Because they've just lost themselves 5 straightforward, simple kills. No, can't get near it.
I'm thinking of Joe right now. He always mentions this. He's actually talked to Asa about it a couple times of, you know, you take a team's turret and you end up backing, then the enemy team takes that same turret back on you. But they're back in time. They're defending the middle turret, and they're not letting anything go. They don't want to let Evil Geniuses get back in this game at all. And LemonDogs, I would think they definitely have changed their style, considering they took that inhibitor about 20 minutes quicker than they normally do.
No free gifts at all. And if actually you look at it, Evil Geniuses, the 3 kills they got, they're all on your Mithy. Nobody else has died across the board. Don't want to hate on the new guy. That's, you know, he's the support. He's a fiddlesticks. He's going to be an easy target. But the rest of the team, they have just been untouchable so far.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it both ways of him, you know, taking the death for his team or maybe being out of position. But either way, it's been working out quite well. And LemonDogs, with their new support, playing like a completely different team, able to pretty much just out-team fight Evil Geniuses right now, which is honestly very hard to do. And Nuke, off split pushing by himself, which we saw so many times in the spring split with Xpeke, with Bjergsen. No one can 1v1 him now, and this is a real problem for EG.
Well, we saw it with Alex Ich in the last game as well. Like you say, nobody can 1v1 him. We are going to see Wicked going in there, and immediately aggression comes out. The ultimate is going to be popped. It's going to be enough to take him down. Look at the damage straight away. Wicked's got no health left. He cannot go 1v1 with NukeDog. While this is happening, LemonDogs, they're 2v1 in the Baron. They're going to have another one come around. The rest of the team are there. That is going to be a free Baron for the LemonDogs. While NukeDog continues to split push. He's on the inhibitor turret down the bottom lane. He is just going to absolutely come around. Oh, look at this. He's thinking of going for Yellow Pete. Yellow Pete on his own in the mid lane. He's now got Wicked joining him, but that will be a free Baron for LemonDogs.
And actually, grid drop by 0-0 there actually zoned out Snoopy, so he couldn't get in. As we're seeing NukeDog continue away at this turret, the thing was, they did Baron, and he's going to potentially get a turret right off of that. And he just got a free Baron buff himself, and LemonDogs, they're going to go for another turret. They already have 6 in a row. And EvoGeniuses have not responded to this, and it's only getting worse for them.
Absolute brilliant map control by the LemonDogs so far. They did similar, if you recall, back at DreamHack, and then almost threw it away. This time they are in no mood to throw this game away. They struggled nearly through the game against Fnatic as well. They've been in this lead so many times and really just caught a few misplays, but this time around it doesn't seem like they're going to make it. And well, with that Baron buff, they are on a full push.
It would honestly have to be a huge mistake at LemonDogs if EG's be able to get back in this one and be able to take them, you know, a little bit further on. But LemonDogs playing phenomenal right now, and they're trying to see just turret down, but they have NukeDog bottom lane still pushing that turret down. And we do see the pull in on 0-0.
Not really the champion you want to pull in. Instead, he's going to just pop Crepo where he stands. It's like, you want to hook me? I'll show you what a hook is. Crowstorm finally comes out. Froggen's going to get melted. That's another one down. Yellow Pete's going to get dropped. While this is all happening, Wicked has just been melted in the bottom lane as well. You can see his green ooze all over the floor, and that's going to be NukeDog taking down the inhibitor turret, the inner turret going down, all across the board. LemonDogs are absolutely smashing EvoGeniuses.
And Mithy brought the party, Demon. I'm a little bit happy finally after that. And LemonDogs, to me, don't take 2 inhibitors off this, most likely, as actually LemonDogs getting very low on the top side, but they do get the bottom inhibitor either way. Wow, Dexter almost going down right there, but it will be 2 inhibitors, and it looks like we actually do have a surrender coming out.
Absolutely fantastic play from the LemonDogs. It was a 30-minute game, 13-4, but that's not really what counts because it was a dominant performance from the LemonDogs, and that sinks EvoGeniuses to the bottom of the league right now. LemonDogs go equal with Fnatic on 5 and 6, but more importantly, EG, the team that was 3rd in the Season 2 World Finals, are now bottom of the table in Week 4.
And this really makes me wonder if the change is maybe more about, or maybe there's something else. Maybe the mentality of LemonDogs has changed around a little bit, where they're playing like a more of a cohesive team. Looks like they're enjoying the game a little bit more. And even after that game where you saw them previously after they won, they looked really cocky and excited. They were just, you know, very humble about it. Like, yeah, good game. The strategy worked out like we wanted to. And LemonDogs, gotta give them credit. Phenomenal game.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. And what do we see from it? What do we take from it? In the fact that 0-0 now switching up a champion, not playing Malphite. Yes. Thank God for that. He pulled out Lissandra, seemed to work for him. NukeDog on the Zed. Absolutely fantastic play for him. 5-0-1. 4-0-4 for Tabs. Seems to be happy with his new support player, Mithy, who finally brought the party just towards the end there to finish things off.
And the thing is that Tabs is actually behind in CS for a majority of the game. So in the laning phase, EG actually beat them, but because of the swaps, because of the kills he was picking up, he was able to get back and finish with an Eye Edge, a Last Whisper, and a Zeal right there. But NukeDog, I mean, because he was 2-0-1 in the beginning, because he was out farming Froggen, he was able to make all these plays happen. And I think he was actually the big playmaker for the team overall.
And what do we take from this for EvoGeniuses? Because that was a sorry performance on it, if I'm honest, for them. They tried to make the plays. It was looking fairly close at one point, but once the ace happened, it was like, this game is going to be over for you guys.
Well, I mean, my mind always goes back to this, is we talk about comfort champions. Yeah. You know, with Alternate, they always get their comfort champions. They stomp you in games. But EvoGeniuses, they had pretty much 4 out of 5 comfort champions with the Thresh, the Anivia, the Maokai, and the Zac, and yet they weren't able to make anything really happen. Snoopy, he actually had some good ganks early on. He made plays for EvoGeniuses, but it didn't seem like they knew how to go. I'm going to say they knew how to go about it, but they just didn't know that next step to really catch LemonDogs off guard. It seemed like LemonDogs had that. They were always like one step ahead, like in chess.
And what do you do to change it? I mean, the fact, like you say, they had 4 champions that have worked for them in Season 2, not really working for them in Season 3. What have EG got to change up here?
If I knew, I mean, I'd probably be their coach or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just, I don't know. I mean, we look back at the spring split. They finished 3rd overall after the playoffs.
Yeah.
They still didn't look like that solid of a team. Not back to what we saw in Season 2. I'm not really sure what it is. It's just Season 3's kind of thrown them on a little bit of a tilt, I have to say. I don't know. I still even have hard times really getting used to Season 3 in terms of, I always jungle in Season 2. Season 3, I can't do it at all. It's just the changes really threw me off. Maybe it's the same thing with Evil Geniuses, but they've had 2 weeks of practice. Like, they've been at home 2 weeks. They've had everyone in the house, and yet they're still not able to win games like this.
Well, this was the week that they said, you know, the first week back after Moscow, we're like, well, we'll see how it goes. The week after, we'll be back on form. Unfortunately, they've started with a loss straight away. LemonDogs, and really all of the new teams have brought it. Alternate, top of the league. Meteor Makers, they're still third, I believe. And now we see LemonDogs, they're joint fourth. These 3 new teams that have come in to replace the old ones are definitely bringing it to the old guys. And the old guard is struggling.
And the thing is, it's not even about Europe. In North America, the same thing's happening with Cloud9. I believe they're like
10 and 2, I believe
something
it is. Yeah.
Ridiculous where they're not being stopped by any teams. And I mean, the older teams, the teams that we all know from Season 2, they have to do something to really step up and show they deserve to be here. They deserve to be on top back then. They need to do something right now.
Well, of course, speaking of new people, we do have a new member. It is Mithy. He's going to be interviewed by Shox.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Yeah, Mithy, your first game with the LemonDogs, what was the overall impression?
Personally, I think I should feed less. And overall, I think we played a good game. And it was my first game, so I was kind of nervous and didn't talk as much as I talked in scrims, so I should fix that.
Yeah, because that's something they said was a problem with the support I was before. The communication was totally off. How are you finding the relationship with Tabs?
With Tabs, I think he had very big flaws at the start, and he still does, but the problem basically was that there were some problems fixing those flaws, and I think with me, those flaws can be fixable, so yeah.
All right, now talk us through the game a little bit. They had the Anivia. Did you bait that out? You knew we know how to counter it anyway, or?
Well, we didn't really care about Anivia. We were like, who cares? Like I mean, I really have never played against Anivia, but I don't feel it's a strong champion in this meta, one could say.
All right.
Especially against Assassins.
Okay. Then finally, of course, we know you from Wizards when you played in the summer promotion tournament, got knocked out. Tell us a little bit about your journey from then on and probably being like, damn it, I really wanted to be in the LCS to getting picked up by LemonDogs.
Well, in Wizards, I got recruited on the first place to get the bot lane because, well, to improve the bot lane synergy because they had a weak bot lane before the qualifier. Sadly, we didn't make it because we weren't the better team. As one can see, that Alternate is now like the best. And I did perform well there, not like I performed this game today here, but I did perform well there, and then I got, like, people knew me because of it, and we went into a team with the NIP guys now, and Yamato Cannon. Shoutouts to Yamato Cannon, by the way, and yep, from there on, when NIP asked the 3 players to join them, I got also asked by LD, and yeah, from there on, just, it's going great since I'm in LCS now.
Absolutely. You're being very harsh on yourself, but a very good performance in your first game. Thank you very much, Mithy. Now, both SK Gaming and Ninjas in Pajamas had flawless weekends in Week 3, and now they're matched up against each other. Who can keep their win streak going? Stay tuned.